Look at all these ones are absolutely stunning. All the way up. They're like full bloom. Got the Rose Parade coming up too soon, very soon. I think opening day's next weekend. Those are gorgeous. Super bright with all the rain. Alright, moving on. This weather really stinks. Gosh. Creepers! Good morning, afternoon, or in this case, evening, whenever you are tuning in and creeping with. It's a wet one. That's not going to stop us from doing a little creeping. A cool one, a very historical, well, it didn't happen that long ago, but it definitely has some cool history. I went down the rabbit hole of a gentleman that lived here in East Multnomah County, Gresham, for many years with his family. He actually grew up in the house right here behind me. His mom and dad, Marjorie Mills and Robert Bob Mills, along with their son, Bob Jr. Mills, were known as the cinema king and queen, and the son went on to kind of be known as the movie guy. They kind of all got their handles. I'll tell you why. It's a great story. Stay tuned. Here in East County, Gresham, I went down the rabbit hole of a really cool story, and I found it to be very interesting, so I wanted to share it with you guys. Right behind all these beautiful shrubs and trees behind this fence here at 605 Northeast Roberts, right here in downtown, well, just off of downtown Gresham, sits a home. I think it's on the historical, most of these homes throughout here are on the historical registers. And this house right here was the home to the Mills. That's right, Marjorie, Robert, and their son. And for many years, they owned and operated the Mount Hood Theater. So we just were cruising by the theater a couple days ago. I thought, man, what a cool spot. And then I thought, I wonder who owned it. And then I realized that they were actually very well known in the community and actually were dubbed the king and queen of the big screen. Yeah, this is the childhood house to their son as well, who grew up working for them at Mount Hood Theater. He was known to be seen wearing bow ties. He loved bow ties and absolutely loved working for the cinema. And I found some really cool information. We're going to walk over to the family-owned cinema that still sits there today, the historical Mount Hood Theater. I'm going to tell you more about the Mills family. All right, just waiting for the light to change. We're going to creep over here to Mount Hood Theater, just a few blocks from the family house. Yeah, Bob Jr. was very adamant about not wanting to live or work too far from his original home. He absolutely loved living there with his family and would occasionally just drive by to look at the place. Sorry, that guy's exhaust was obnoxious. But yeah, Bob loved living close to the theater, and when he moved into his new apartment, he would occasionally just drive by the house and reminisce. As promised, the Mount Hood Theater, which has been here for quite some time, and the Mills family operated it for well over 20 years. I think their final day here was in 1999 when the family actually retired and then decided to go to work for the Gresham Cinemas, which was doing a little bit better at the time. Unfortunately, the Gresham Cinemas is now gone. But yeah, the Mount Hood Theater, the home to the Mills family and vice versa. Their son being known as the projectionist that would sit up right there in that little tiny window. We're gonna go across the street, talk more about the king and queen of the big screen, and also their son, the movie guy. Just walking up here to the theater, which I absolutely love the looks of this place. We've shown this a bunch of times on the vlog. Yeah, the king and queen of the cinemas. Marjorie was known all throughout Gresham as being such a wonderful person as well. I actually found some pictures from her obituary, but their son helped run this with them. He actually worked here a few years after they decided to move on to the cinemas, the Gresham cinemas, and then he went ahead and joined them. But if you can see up top there, that little tiny box, that's the projectionist room where they would show all the films, do all the old school reel. And the movie guy himself, Bob Jr., was in charge of all that. Also helping pop the popcorn. I heard that he absolutely loved popping the popcorn for all the guests and making the experience just as good as you could get it. And he actually had a simple rule where he would pop the popcorn for the guests, but never actually enjoy any of it himself. He always felt like it was more of an honorable thing to, you know, make sure the guests were taken care of. If you look back in there, you can still see, well, it's still a theater, but you can see where the popcorn machine is and probably was when he went in there and got all the popcorn ready for the theater. Yeah, this place is so dang neat. We're gonna definitely have to come here and see a movie pretty soon and just kind of honor that family as well. But I just found it to be such an intriguing story, especially since I love theaters and old movies. Bob Jr. was an avid fan of the Beach Boys. Years later, Marjorie ending up in an adult care facility. Was there with actually Mike Love's father, which Bob Jr. got a big kick out of. He could actually reminisce a lot of the old Beatles songs word for word, and was a huge fan. He said that he didn't care for movies too much, but absolutely enjoyed working there, which I thought was kind of funny. But yeah, what a great family, and to have such history here in Portland and Gresham with all the theaters. And some pictures of Marge, his mom, the mom, which was known as the queen of the cinema. Her son kind of taking on the nickname as the movie guy because of his family and just him being known at all the theaters in town. When kids would come to the movies, they're like, that's that guy. Always rocking a bow tie, always making the popcorn fresh. All right here in front of Gresham High School, which was Bob Jr.'s high school. And after he moved out of the family home and was working for the Gresham cinemas, he actually moved out of the family house into an apartment right here at the Hood Village Apartments, right across the street from his old high school, which I went to Gresham as well. And it said in the Oregonian newspaper clip that I found that Bob lived in the second story of the Hood Village Apartments here, right above the swimming pool, which he actually never, the article said he never enjoyed. It was just kind of looked out onto the pool. But yeah, this was like his last his last residence. Kind of interesting to think that kind of full circle, going to Gresham High School, running track and field, and then living right across the street from his alma mater. He actually did a lot of work for the high school as well, running track and field, and was in charge of the reunions, class of '73. Bob would make sure everybody was informed for all the reunions. Pretty dang cool. Just like maybe 5 blocks from the original family theater that they owned. Well, they didn't technically own it. I think the Moyer family still owned it at that point, but his family and him basically ran it, managed it, operated it for all those years. Pretty dang cool though, especially since I went to Gresham High School with all the tie-ins, and just interesting, a part of Gresham history. Love that kind of stuff. And I wanted to stop off and check out this mural that we've seen many a times by Lee Lawrenson. We were actually here when he was painting most of this a few summers back, but I noticed not only when he was painting it, I thought I'd tie it into the vlog. We actually have the Mount Hood Theater right here on the reader board, or on the mural. And on the reader board there, the marquee, it says family night. How appropriate. That is so cool. Yeah, I'm not really seeing anybody's names on here that I would recognize from the family, but nonetheless, the Mount Hood Theater. Pretty dang cool. That's going to do it for today. If you guys are new here, make sure you hit that red subscribe button. That'll dial you into being a creeper today. You can also ring that bell. That way when I creep, you guys will be the first to creep. And if you did enjoy this, give it a thumbs up. Till next time, creeper out for now. Peace.